All right, in this lecture, we're going to learn how to create our own menus and then use the concept of domain to let us limit what actual items we show under that menu. And it's going to help you understand a little bit more about menus, more about actions, and how we can use what's in the model to filter data within Odoo. So to get started, we're going to look a little bit at just how we can do a filter and customize filters in Odoo. So if I go back here to our products, you'll notice that we have here in our list view, we have, if I expand this out, filters for product services, and we have this can be sold filter. Notice how I can check it or uncheck it to determine whether this shows up or not. And we can add our own filters in to make more useful for our users. And so what might be a filter that we could use would be, let's use the example of like a low calorie item. So notice how, we have, this is 60 calories, this is 1370 calories. For our example, let's suppose that we want items that are low calorie. So right now, one of the ways we could do this is hit add custom filter. We're going to go here and say that we want calories to be less than, say, 100. And we'll apply that. And now notice that our calories less than 100 filter has been applied and the other item dropped off the list. And if I close this, then our filter goes away until I pop it back up here again. Now, one of the things I can do is I can say save the current search as low calorie. So I'm showing you how this is done just using like the built-in methods of Odoo. No programming required. We haven't customized anything. But there is some customization we can do from this, and we'll see how this kind of works. If I go up here under Manage Filters, notice how I now have a filter called Low Calorie, and it's tied to this model. It knows that I'm the user. It knows which action it's tied to, and then it also has this domain here where it's saving the actual contents of the filter. If I click on it, I can see more about it. So it's actually created this for us, this filter. So let's see how we could add this though, so that it's not part of the user's experience, but more of a programming experience. How would a developer create a search view? And if we go, I'm going to copy this, so I have it in my clipboard for this domain of calories being less than 100. And let's go back to our products list, and notice how it defaults just back to this. And I have this low calorie search, but I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to actually delete it and get it out of here. So now there's nothing about low calorie anywhere in here. It's basically been wiped out. But what I can do is, let's take a little look at the search view. And what the search view is, this is the templates that let you see what's currently under that search view. So let me hit enter here and get down. And so you'll notice that one of these down here is this can be sold, filter to sell, right? And whether the sale's okay. So this is the one that we see defaulting every time we click on products. So let's go ahead and add our own new filter for low calorie. So I can come down here and let's paste in our domain that I have for calories that I kind of saved. And now I'm going to use my copy and paste for this filter string, because you know, one thing about programming is there's a lot of syntax, and remembering it is hard. The way that this is almost a non-programming course is I'm not going to be asking you really to write code as much as I'm going to ask you to copy code and then change it. So we're going to take this filter string that's for sale okay. I'm just going to copy this whole string, copy it, and then I'm going to come down here and paste it. and we're going to change it to what we want. The string, we want to say low calorie. The name here, instead of filter to cell, we'll just call it filter low calorie. So we're just giving it a different name. And now our domain, we can copy and paste this, I would think, but it might be just as easy to change it here. I don't know. Let's go ahead and try copy and pasting it and see how it likes it. So I'm going to copy that whole domain into there like that. We'll see how it likes that and save it. Okay, it doesn't like that, I don't think. Oh, one of the things is that for this, okay, I don't think it likes this at all. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take this domain like that, and we'll just retype it like it should be. So it's going to be X calories. Now, one of the things to remember is, and this is just with how it is with less than signs. Because they look like this, we can't use them the same way. We have to actually use an ampersand, LT, and a semicolon. And that's less than. And then for this, we'll have 100. So I wish the font was a little bigger here, but you'll see that if I save this now, it does save, and this is just like a less than sign. The ampersand is just a character, so it knows that we're talking about having a escaped character, they call it. LT for less than, and then a semicolon. So calories less than 100 here. And I've already saved it, and I'll hit products. I'll probably have to do a shift refresh. And if I go up here now under filters, notice how there's a low calorie, and I can select it. And if I make sure that it's just low calorie, it'll now filter. So low calorie drops it off because it's that. If you put them together, this is just something to remember. If I say low calorie and can be sold, by putting them together like that, it's an R. So probably this needs to be in its own. So how do I do that? In other words, I don't want it grouped together with can be sold, because if I say can be sold and I choose low calorie, notice how it keeps them both because it's R. This is an R condition. Either of these can be true. So if I uncheck that, of course, now I just get the low calorie. But that means that this really needs to be in its own group. And how can I do that? It's really simple. You just have to go back into the search view. And again, 90% of learning Odoo's framework is going to be looking at what you can see other things, how other things are done, and then you just do it the same way they do it. And you'll notice how we have this separator here. I can just copy it and drop it in here between our can be sold and our low calorie. So low calorie is by itself. It'll always be, if you choose low calorie, it's going to stand on its own. Let's see if it automatically reloads these. Yeah, it did. So now if I choose low calorie, notice how it's an and. They have to be both can be sold and they have to be low calorie. Now it's just low calorie. Now it's not low calorie, not applied. So now that filter is built into our actual application. It's part of it. And so the users still have their own favorites and everything, but now we have a low calorie filter. So now in our next video, we're going to look at how we can create a special menu item over here just for our low calorie products, along with, if we so chose, its own action, and we will have its own action, and to have an automatic low calorie filter applied that's at what we call the domain level, rather than a filter here that can be unchecked. So that'll be in our next lecture.